Thank you. You may all please be seated. Now, I would like to invite our principal, Dr. Jacob Thomas, for the welcome speech.
Most respected Director IHRD, Dr. P. Suresh Kumar, Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Rosh Cherian, dignitaries from CogniCor Technologies, HOD, faculty members, alumni members, and my dear students. A very warm welcome to Model Engineering College. As you all know, Model Engineering College is considered as one of the leading engineering colleges in Kerala, and it has gone leaps and bounds over the past 33 years. Last month, the final year batch, 29th, the final year batch of undergraduation program has come out. And we feel that, I can proudly say that the strength of Model Engineering College lies in its students and its alumni. As well as we know that we found some, from our own retrospective uh, feelings, we found that there are some gray areas in which we need to be addressed. The first and foremost is actually industry institute interaction, funded projects, and innovation labs, etc. etc. In Jan 2022, ACT has invited applications from its approved institution for setting up IdeaLab. IdeaLab means idea development, evaluation, and application, which actually its aim is to promote the students, which is having hands-on experience, learning by doing, and even product visualization. It aims to make engineering students more imaginative, creative by getting basic skills, critical thinking, problem solving, design thinking, and lifelong training. Its motto is to engage, explore, experience, express, and excel, which coincide with what is known as our National Education Policy 2020. The estimated cost of this particular project was about 110 lakhs, and as per its guidelines, 50% of amount will be given by the AICT, and the remaining 50% has to be raised from the nearby industries. That was the main challenge. Okay, so we were actually given the task to apply this particular project within about 10 to 12 days. Initially, we approached the nearby multinational companies and profit-making public sector companies, but they utterly rejected our proposal, our request, because of the fact that within the shortest time, they cannot able to make any financial commitment. But we go ahead with that submitting the projects, and I know that our alumni are actually the main strength of this particular college, and I started calling the alumni which are in Kochi. So I get that connections of the nearby alumni in Kochi, and they all responded positively in the sense that they all said that, sir, we will support this particular venture, but they are unable to give any what is known as the financial commitment within the shortest time. So I started inviting as batch wise. We had some Google Meets in the nights of 92, 96, different batches. I know only the biomeds, so I started inviting the biomeds groups. They all said, responded positively in the sense that it's a good venture, good initiative from AICT or from the college. We will all support it. But unfortunately, the financial commitment part was not there from any of them. But they said we will accumulate that amount somehow, don't worry. And they all made a commitment, said, even if AICT don't award this particular idea lab to Model Engineering College, we'll set up a lab in Model Engineering College for this particular purpose. That was actually the most encouraging words from the alumni I have got. Mr. Rosh Cherian was one of my favorite student, and he was actually my he was a Facebook friend. We used to exchange what is known as greetings in Christmas or Easter or some other. So I have got his contact information. I sent a message in the messages stating that I would like to have your WhatsApp number or phone call or email, phone number or email. Within a day, he has responded that, and I explained to him that this is actually our requirement. Can you please help me? He said, okay, we'll respond within a day or two, and I will let you know. That was on a Friday evening, I think. So I was expecting a call or reply from him on Monday or Tuesday, but no response. I thought that he also ditched me in the sense. Okay. Finally, I sent a reminder and immediately respond that, sir, we are working on it and we will respond to it positively. So that confidence inherited me more way, and the days are going as fast as anything. We would, I mean, we decided to submit this project proposal by Friday evening before we leave this particular campus. Okay. Meantime, PTA has responded to donate about 10 lakhs, and the XMEC they decided to contribute about 10 lakhs, and Sergi of Citrus company alumni of this is contributed about 1 lakh. So altogether, somewhere around 15 to 20 lakhs was no concrete documentary proof to submit to that. Okay, so we made it ready all other documents like project proposals, budgetary proposals, and equipments to be bought, and its tabulation and everything. Uploaded everything on Friday morning, but around 11:30, I got the email from Mr. Rosh Cherian about his what is known as his commitment, financial commitment. CogniCor is ready to sponsor the 100% of that of that total project cost made for this particular. That was my proudest and most happiest moment as a teacher in my 34 years of my career, because my student is actually paying back to its college. That's the most important. I know that there are hundreds of Rosh Cherians among the alumni, but only Rosh has got that particular mind or that big heart to share his happiness or wealth with the students community. So on behalf of Model Engineering College, faculty, staff, and the students, we are indebted to Mr. Rosh Cherian and his company, CogniCor Technology, for making this financial commitment to make this particular things in reality. So very happily, we submitted that particular project, and we were actually expecting some uh, reply from ACT. Within a couple of weeks, they actually interviewed me, or what is known as an online consultation presentation with ACT, and they said they are very happy to see that uh, it's one of your alumni is sponsoring the whole amount, and they asked me a very particular question, whether that particular or particular alumni is ready to share that amount. I said 100%. I am confident about Mr. Rosh Cherian because I was his teacher from 92 to 96. I know he's a very studious and silent character, and I was faculty advisor of Biomedical Association at that time, and we used to conduct what is known as seminars or invited talks. We invited Dr. VPN Nambudiri from QSAT, who was actually heading the photonics division at that time. And I remember he, one of his talk, or when we invited Dr. VPN Nambudiri to explain about the laser application in biomedical field. And I told him that, sir, we have got some good bunch of students. If you want to, if you can help us, our students, in doing the projects, it'll be nice. He accepted my request, and I introduced the Roche team to Mr. VP and Nambudiri. And I still remember I was actually staying at South Kalmesheri, and during my journey in between the model and South Kalmesheri, I used to see Rosh Cherian many times walking from Cochin University to Model Engineering College in the hot sunny days with sweat and other things. So he was very studious and a very good student, and I really appreciate all his good work he has done. And I think we are actually seeing after uh, maybe about 24 years in physical mode. Okay? So we are proud about Shirian for your gesture, and it is actually a turning point for Model Engineering College. I feel that contributing, paying back to college, and it paid, and it has created a ripple among that many alumni that we should contribute to that Model Engineering College for infrastructure development and novel ventures like this thing. Today also, I think 92, 2002 batches, they are here for an informal meeting. They also said there are many Rosharians in that particular group. I appeal to them, stating that we require your help in building up what is known as Model Engineering College. So last week also, our Katha biomedical group actually contributed somewhere around equipments more than 8 lakhs to that biomedical lab. And we all appreciate uh, uh, that initiative taken by the Rosh. It has made a ripple among that. So let me come to my duty of welcoming all to this particular function. The first and foremost, our director, Dr. P. Suresh Kumar, for this function. He only initiated this particular. During that last 2021 Christmas vacation, I was there in my house. He called me and said, there's a project coming up. You should apply it without any problem. And next day itself, I came back to college and started working on it. But at that time, there was no notification. And maybe in the second or third week of it has come out. So he only, our director only actually instructed me or started uh, this particular project to be implemented at Model Engineering College. So on behalf of all who are sitting here, I welcome you, sir, for this great initiative and this function. I don't want to say anything about Rosh Cherian anymore. Okay, so hearty welcome once again to the Model Engineering College. And I would like to welcome that his brother Rejoy, Meera, then Hadida, then Mr. Mahadevan, okay, all of the dignitaries from CogniCor Technologies to this model engineering, and we look forward more fruitful interactions like uh, from CogniCor, and we have got a good bunch of students here, and we would like to share their what is known as their brain or artificial intelligence with CogniCor Technologies or anything. So I would like to welcome all of the alumni. I think some may turn up. Okay, our HODs, faculty members, and IDC members. I would like to mention two more people. One is actually the better half of Rosh Cherian. So behind every successful man, there is a beautiful woman. Vice versa also. Okay. So on behalf of, she is actually the CEO of CogniCor Technologies. In her absence also, I would like to welcome Dr. Sindhu Joseph uh, to this particular function. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Ramesh Unnikrishnan, advisor of AICTE, who was actually instrumental in helping us for applying as well as giving all sorts of help to this for this particular project to come to a reality. Okay, Roche or CogniCor Technology has given me given 80% of the amount. AICTE yesterday, AICTE is also transferred their equal part. So we have got about 88 lakhs right now for this IdeaLab. So it is our duty to implement all this activity, start learning in the right direction. So I need all your help to make this as reality so that it should be beneficial to our student community. That's the only aim I have got. It should be beneficial. It should be an added advantage to our students. So thank you all for your wonderful present. And once again, I welcome to this particular function. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Suresh Kumar P., Director of IHRD, for the Presidential Address.
നമസ്കാരം. നമ്മുടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട റോഷ് ചെറിയൻ, പ്രിയങ്കനായ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ജേക്കബ് തോമസ് സാർ, ഡോക്ടർ ബിനീഷ്, കോഗ്നിക്കോർ ടെക്നോളജീസിൻ്റെ പാർട്ടായിട്ട് വന്നുള്ള എല്ലാ പ്രവർത്തകരും, എൻ്റെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട സ്റ്റുഡൻസ്, അലുമിനി, വളരെ 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 സന്തോഷത്തോടെയുള്ളൊരു മൊമെൻറ്റിലാണ് ഞാനിവിടെ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നത്. ഇതിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും വളരെ ഭംഗിയായിട്ട് ആ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ്റെ ഒരു മൊമെൻറ്റും എല്ലാം ജേക്കബ് സാറ് പറഞ്ഞു. അതിനപ്പുറം ഞാനിനി എന്തെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് ശരിയാവില്ല. വളരെ ക്ലിയറായിട്ട് വളരെ വ്യക്തമായിട്ട് ജേക്കബ് സാറ് പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പം എന്നെ സംബന്ധിച്ചോളം ഒരു അധ്യാപകൻ എന്നുള്ള നിലയ്ക്ക് ജേക്കബ് സാറ് പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ 32 വർഷമായിട്ട് ഈ ഫീൽഡിൽ, ഹയർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഫീൽഡിൽ നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു അധ്യാപകൻ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ ഏറ്റവും സന്തോഷകരമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു മൊമെൻ്റാണ്. കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് കുട്ടികളെ പഠിപ്പിച്ച്, നമ്മുടെ ജോലി എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കുട്ടികളെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുക, അവരെ നല്ല നിലയിൽ ഇത് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. നമുക്ക് അതിനകത്ത് കിട്ടുന്നൊരു സാറ്റിസ്ഫാക്ഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവർ ഏറ്റവും നല്ല നിലയിൽ എത്തുമ്പോഴാണ്. തിരിച്ച് പഠിച്ച സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളും കൂടെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് നമുക്ക് വളരെയധികം സന്തോഷമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും എല്ലാ മീറ്റിങ്ങുകളിലും എല്ലാ ആൾക്കാരോടും തേച്ച് പറയുന്നൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ വർഷം തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ IHRDയുടെ എല്ലാ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലും അലുമിനി മീറ്റ് സംഘടിപ്പിക്കണം എന്നുള്ളൊരു തീരുമാനത്തിലും കൂടെയാണ് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അതിൻ്റെ പ്രധാന കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഹയർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ, ഇപ്പം ജനറൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ കേരളത്തിൽ വളരെയധികം മുന്നോട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ഹയർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടർ ഇപ്പോഴും പഴയ തലത്തിൽ തന്നെയാണ് നിൽക്കുന്നത്. ഒരുപാട് കാലിബറായിട്ടുള്ള കമ്പനീസും ഒരുപാട് ആൾക്കാരും എല്ലാം ഒരുപാട് പൊട്ടൻഷ്യലുള്ള ഒരു ഏരിയ ആണെങ്കിൽ പോലും, പക്ഷേ ഹയർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടറിൽ ഇപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ വളരെ പിന്നോക്കമായിട്ടാണ് നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അതിൻ്റെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു കാരണം ഞാൻ നമ്മൾ സംസാരിച്ചപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് പറഞ്ഞ് എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഇൻട്രാക്ഷൻ ഏറ്റവും കുറവ്. നമ്മൾ പുറത്തേക്ക് പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, പല സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലും പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഇപ്പോൾ AICTE വിസിറ്റ്, ഞാനിപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ AICTE വിസിറ്റ് പല തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റുള്ള സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങളിൽ പല സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലും പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, അവിടെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രൈവറ്റ് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിൽ പോലും ഇൻഡസ്ട്രീസിൻ്റെ ലാബുകളും മറ്റുള്ള സെറ്റപ്പുകളും അവിടെ കാണാൻ പറ്റും. അതായത് റിസർച്ച് വർക്കുകൾ, ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയായിട്ടുള്ള ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ഒരുപാട് ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് അവിടെ. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിലുള്ള പല കുട്ടികളും ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കേരളത്തിലേക്ക് അഡ്മിഷൻ നോക്കാറില്ല. ഇവിടെ 25,000-30,000 സീറ്റുകൾ ഇപ്പോഴും ഒഴിഞ്ഞു കിടക്കുകയാണ്. പക്ഷേ തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലും മറ്റുള്ള സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലേക്കും പോവുകയാണ്. കഴിയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അവർക്കൊരു ജോലി കിട്ടുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാ ക്യാമ്പസിലും എല്ലാം പക്ഷേ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്ന ഒരുപാട് ക്യാമ്പസുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിൽ അത്തരത്തിലുള്ളൊരു ക്യാമ്പസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമുക്ക് തന്നെ ആലോചിച്ചാൽ പറ്റും വളരെ വളരെ കുറവാണ്. അതൊരു വ്യത്യാസം എന്നുള്ള നിലയിലാണ് 89 മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് എന്നൊരു സ്ഥാപനം കേരളത്തിൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതിൻ്റെ ഫസ്റ്റ്, അതായത് അന്ന് കേരളത്തിലെ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് ഗവൺമെൻറ് സെക്ടറിലും എയ്ഡഡ് സെക്ടറിലൊക്കെ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ ഈ പറയുന്ന ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് അന്ന് ഇത്രത്തോളം പ്ലേസ്മെൻറ്റ് മറ്റുള്ള ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് ആണ്. പക്ഷേ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ദിശാബോധം വേറെ തരത്തിലേക്കായിരുന്നു. അതിന് വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടാണ് മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് എന്നൊരു സ്ഥാപനം തുടങ്ങുന്നത്. വിത്തിൻ എ ഷോർട്ട് സ്പാൻ ഓഫ് ടൈം മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് ഏറ്റവും നല്ല നിലയിൽ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തു. അപ്പം അതിൻ്റെ ആ ഒരു പേരിൽ ആക്ച്വലി മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ അസറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇവിടെ പഠിച്ചിറങ്ങിയ കുട്ടികളാണ്, അലൂമിനിയാണ്. അതായത് ഇപ്പം മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് ഇപ്പോഴും ഈ നിലയിൽ, അതായത് ഇപ്പം റോഷ് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അന്ന് കാണുന്ന മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് തന്നെ ഇപ്പോഴും കാണാനായിട്ട് ബാഹ്യമായിട്ട് ഉള്ളത്. അതിന്നൊരു വ്യത്യാസമല്ല, അത് വളരെ കറക്റ്റാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ IDEAlab സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ, IDEAlab പിന്നെ AICTEയുടെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രസ്റ്റീജിയസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രോജക്റ്റാണ്. പക്ഷേ നമ്മളൊന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കേരളത്തിൽ ഈ വർഷം മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിന് മാത്രമായിട്ടാണ് കിട്ടിയത്. പ്രൈവറ്റ് കോളേജുകൾ ഇതിനുവേണ്ടി പിറകെ നടക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിനകത്ത് ഒരു കോളേജിനോട്, അത് ഏത് കോളേജിനാണെന്ന് ഞാൻ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞില്ല, അതിൻ്റെ സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ എന്താണെന്നാലും അത് അവരുടെ എന്താണെന്ന് നമുക്കറിയാവുന്നതാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഗവൺമെൻറ് സെക്ടറിലോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗവൺമെൻറ് കൺട്രോൾഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസിലോ പലപ്പോഴും ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ലാബുകൾ പ്രോജക്റ്റുകൾ ഏറ്റെടുക്കാനായിട്ട് പറ്റിയ സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാകാറില്ല. അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ, നമ്മുടെ ലിമിറ്റേഷൻസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ 50% പ്രോജക്റ്റ് കോസ്റ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ഹാസ് ടു ബി ബോർ ബൈ ദി ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗവൺമെൻറ് ട്രിവാൻഡ്രം എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് ഈ 50 lakhs അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 55 lakhs ഒറ്റയടിക്ക് ഒരു പ്രോജക്റ്റിലേക്ക് ഇടുക എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഒരുപാട് സാങ്കേതിക പ്രശ്നങ്ങളും ഒരുപാട് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു പ്രോജക്റ്റ് രമേശ് എന്നെ വിളിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞു, സാറേ ഇപ്പോൾ ഉടനെ വിളിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എന്തായാലും ഇപ്രാവശ്യം കേരളത്തിൽ നമുക്ക് ഗവൺമെൻറ് സെക്ടറിൽ ഒരു കോളേജിന് നമുക്ക് എന്തായാലും മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിന് എങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിലും ശരി നമുക്ക് ഇപ്രാവശ്യം നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് സാറ് സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. അപ്പോൾ ഞാനപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ജേക്കബ് സാറിനെ വിളിച്ചു പറഞ്ഞു, സാറേ ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് എന്തായാലും ശരി അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുക, സാറ് മാക്സിമം ട്രൈ ചെയ്യുക. ഇല്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അപ്പോഴത്തെ ബാക്കി കാര്യങ്ങൾ ആ സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് ആ ഒരു കോൺഫിഡൻസിലാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്, സാർ എന്തായാലും മാക്സിമം ട്രൈ, എന്തായാലും നമുക്ക് പ്രാവശ്യം പ്രോജക്റ്റ് കിട്ടണം. പക്ഷേ ജേക്കബ് സാറിനോട് എനിക്കുള്ളൊരു വിശ്വാസമുണ്ട്, സാറിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ഏൽപ്പിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സാറ് ഏത് തരത്തിലാണെങ്കിലും ശരി അത് മെറ്റീരിയലൈസ് ചെയ്യും. അപ്പം IHRDക്ക് അതിനകത്തേക്ക് ഫർദറായിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് അതിനകത്ത് ഫർദറായിട്ട് കൂടുതലൊന്നും ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വന്നില്ല. ഒരു 2 ആഴ്ച കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴേ സാറിനെ വിളിച്ചു, സാറേ എല്ലാം റെഡിയായി സാറ് 50 lakhs പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ തന്നെ പിന്നെ റോഷ് ചെറിയാൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു പൂർവ്വ വിദ്യാർത്ഥി സ്പോൺസർ, ഭയങ്കര സന്തോഷമായി. ഇല്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വേറെ ഏതെങ്കിലും തരത്തിൽ നമുക്ക് എന്തായാലും പ്രാവശ്യം ഐഡിയ ലാബ് നമുക്കിവിടെ ഇത് ചെയ്യണം. രമേശൻ്റെ പറഞ്ഞു, സാറേ അത് ചെയ്തിരിക്കണം, ബാക്കി എല്ലാ സാറ് നല്ലൊരു പ്രോജക്റ്റ് റിപ്പോർട്ടും നല്ലൊരു പ്രസൻറ്റേഷനും നടത്തി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ബാക്കി നമുക്ക് എന്തായാലും ഇവിടെ കേരളത്തിൽ കിട്ടും. വേറെ പ്രൈവറ്റ് സെക്ടറുകളിൽ കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം അവർ കൊടുത്തു തന്നെ അവർക്ക് അറിയാം എന്താ പറ്റിയെന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു തരത്തിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്, നമ്മുടെ ഗവൺമെൻറ് സെക്ടറിൽ നമ്മൾ നേരിടുന്ന ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു പ്രതിസന്ധിയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന തരത്തിൽ നമ്മുടെ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളെ നമുക്ക് ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പോലും നമുക്ക് മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാനായിട്ട് പറ്റാത്ത സാഹചര്യമാണ്. മെയിനായിട്ട് ഫൈനാൻഷ്യൽ ക്രൈസിസ്. അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള ഇപ്പോൾ ജേക്കബ് സാർ പറഞ്ഞ് കേരളത്തിലെ ഏറ്റവും മികച്ച, കേരളത്തിലെ മാത്രമല്ല ഇന്ത്യയിലെ തന്നെ ഏറ്റവും മികച്ച സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലൊന്നാണ് മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ്. അതിനകത്ത് യാതൊരുവിധ സംശയമില്ല. പക്ഷേ അതിൻ്റെ ആ ഒരു ലെവലിലേക്ക് ഇപ്പം പുറത്തുനിന്നൊരു കുട്ടി വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, പലപ്പോഴും ഞാനിവിടെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പളായിട്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും മറ്റും പല കുട്ടികളും മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കൂടെ എൻ്റെ പേരും ബ്രാൻഡ് നെയിമും ഒക്കെ കേട്ടിട്ട് വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് കൗൺസിലിംഗ് കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഇതാണോ കോളേജ് എന്ന ആ ഒരു, അതായത് അവരുദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന തരത്തിലുള്ള, നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരുടെയും ചിന്താഗതി അതാണ്, അവരുദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന തരത്തിലുള്ളൊരു ക്യാമ്പസോ ആംബിയൻസോ അല്ല പലപ്പോഴും മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൽ. എൻ്റെ മോനോടെ പഠിച്ചാണ്, ഇപ്പോൾ പാസ് ഔട്ടാണ്, അവനും ആദ്യം നിർബന്ധം കൊണ്ട് ഇതാണ് ആദ്യത്തെ ചിന്താഗതി ഇവിടെ വന്ന് ചേർന്നത് തന്നെ പ്രശ്നമായി എന്നുള്ളത്. അതായത് അവർ വേറൊരു, അതായത് +2 കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വേറൊരു അവരുടെ കുട്ടികളുടെ മനസ്സിലുള്ളൊരു പ്ലേസ്മെൻറ്റ്, ഇൻഡസ്ട്രീസിൻ്റെ പ്രോജക്ട്സ് ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള ഇവിടെ തരത്തിലേക്ക് ഒരു ക്യാമ്പസ് ആക്കി മാറ്റാനായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു പ്രപ്പോസൽ IHRD ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിലേക്ക് ഫൈനാൻസിന് വേണ്ടി കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അത് ആ ഒരു ഗവൺമെൻറ് സപ്പോർട്ട് കിട്ടിയില്ലെങ്കിൽ കൂടി ആ ഒരു തരത്തിലേക്ക്, ആ ഒരു കൾച്ചറിലേക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ഈ കോളേജിനെ മാറ്റാനായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ അലുമിനി എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ, അതായത് മിക്കവാറും ലോകത്തിൻ്റെ അങ്ങോളം എല്ലാ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലും മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൽ പാസ് ഔട്ടായ കുട്ടികൾ ഏറ്റവും നല്ല നിലയിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യും. അപ്പം നിങ്ങൾ വിചാരിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വളരെ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിന് തന്നെ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ പ്രയോജനപ്രദമായ തരത്തിലേക്ക് മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിനെ മാറ്റാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ വാക്കുകൾ ദീർഘിപ്പിക്കുന്നില്ല. റോഷ് ചെറിയാൻ എല്ലാവിധ ഭാവങ്ങളും ഇനിയും കൂടുതൽ മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിലേക്ക് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാനും, മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയർ ഞാൻ റോഷൻ്റെ പറഞ്ഞു, ഞാൻ മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തന്നേ, നിങ്ങളങ്ങ് ദത്തെടുത്തോ. അതായത് നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടുത്തെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി, വരാൻ പോകുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി നമ്മുടെ ഈ സ്ഥാപനം ഏറ്റവും നല്ല നിലയിലേക്ക് ഈ ഒരു മാതൃകാപരമായിട്ട് ഈ ഐഡിയ ലാബിന് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്ത് ആ ഒരു തരത്തിലല്ല, അത് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു സ്നേഹം, നമ്മുടെ അധ്യാപകർ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ചു കിട്ടിയ മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറുകൾ എനിക്ക് കിട്ടുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, നമ്മളിവിടെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ഓരോ അധ്യാപകരും, ഇവിടെ പഠിപ്പിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞ ഓരോ അധ്യാപകർക്കും കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു ഗുരുദക്ഷിണ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ ആ തരത്തിലേക്കാണ് ഞാനത് കാണുന്നത്. എല്ലാവിധ ഭാവങ്ങളും റോഷ് ചെറിയാന് നേരുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Thanks a lot, sir, for your kind words, and I hope your vision about Model Engineering College comes true. All right, so IDEA Lab stands for Idea Development Exploration and Application Lab. The main aim of IDEA Lab is to improve our institution by connecting us to industries through various programs where the industry leaders come and conduct workshops and courses for the students of MEC. The end goal is to set up a workshop at MEC which would contain equipments ranging from primitive tools to cutting edge technologies like 3D printers and CNC machines. So, to express our gratitude, I would like to invite Mr. Rosh Cherian to receive the gift of honor from Dr. Suresh Kumar. Next, on behalf of Dr. Sindhu Joseph, who is not present here today, I invite Mr. Rosh Cherian to receive her gift of honor. Thank you, sir. Now, with great pleasure, I would like to invite Mr. Rosh Cherian to share a few words. Sir.
Hello, everyone. Um, yes, so great to be with you guys, with everyone, especially the mix of students, previous teachers, um, and alumni as well. So എനിക്ക് വളരെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട് നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരുടെയും കൂടെ ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി ഇവിടെ മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൽ വരാനും ഇത്രയും മനോഹരമായ ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷൻ നിങ്ങൾ ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്യുകയൊക്കെ ചെയ്തതിൽ വളരെയധികം സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. അതോടൊപ്പം ജേക്കബ് സാറ് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ലൈക്ക് ജേക്കബ് സാറിന് വളരെയധികം മെമ്മറി ഉണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി. സാറിന് ഒരിക്കലും മെമ്മറിയുടേതായ ഒരു പ്രോബ്ലം വരില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു. കാരണം എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് സാറ് ഓരോ ഇവിടുന്ന് പഠിച്ചിറങ്ങിയ ഓരോ കുട്ടിയെ പറ്റിയും അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് വളരെ കൃത്യമായ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയ മെമ്മറീസ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. അത് ഒബ്വിയസ്ലി എല്ലാ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനും ഉണ്ടാവും എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ എനിവേ സോ ഞങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ വന്ന ബാച്ച് 92 to 96 മോഡൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിന്റെ ഈ ബിൽഡിംഗ് പതുക്കെ ഓരോരോ ഫ്ലോർ ആയിട്ട് പണി തീർന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. ഞങ്ങൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തപ്പം ഞങ്ങളൊരു എടപ്പള്ളിയിൽ ഹൈസ്കൂൾ ബിൽഡിങ്ങിലായിരുന്നു ഞങ്ങളുടെ ക്ലാസ് നടന്നിരുന്നത്. അതിനുശേഷം ഞങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം ഇതുപോലെ ഹൈസ്കൂളൊക്കെ കണ്ട് ഇവിടെ ചേരണോ വേണ്ടയോ എന്നൊക്കെ ആലോചിച്ച് സുരേഷ് സാർ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഒരു കൺഫ്യൂഷനൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ അതിനുശേഷം ഇവിടെ വന്നതിന് ശേഷം ആദ്യത്തെ ക്ലാസ് തുടങ്ങിയതിന് ശേഷം എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി ഇതൊരു കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ഒരു ഇപ്പൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന പോലെ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കൾച്ചർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അന്നത്തെ സമയത്ത് ഉള്ള സൗകര്യങ്ങളും എല്ലാം വെച്ചുകൊണ്ട് അപ്പൊ അന്ന് തന്നെ കൗൺസിലിങ്ങിനായിട്ട് ദേവസ്യ സാറായിരുന്നു അന്ന് അഡ്മിഷൻ കൗൺസിലിങ്ങിന് വന്നപ്പോൾ ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി പറഞ്ഞത്. അപ്പം എനിക്ക് വേറെ ഇലക്ട്രോണിക്സ് വേറെ ഗവൺമെന്റ് എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജിൽ കിട്ടിയായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ ഇവിടെ ബയോമെഡിക്കൽ ഒരു പുതിയ കോഴ്സാണ്, ഭയങ്കര വിഷണറി കോഴ്സാണ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ് അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ പല അമേരിക്കയിലും അങ്ങനെ പല രാജ്യങ്ങളിലും അതിനെപ്പറ്റി പുതിയ ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ്സ് നടക്കുന്നു അന്നൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ എൻ്റെ പോലെ തന്നെ ഒത്തിരി പേര് ഇതുപോലെ ലൈക്ക് ദേ ഓൾ ഡിസൈഡഡ് ടു take the risk and jump in and experience like what it is, because even the first batch was not out. അപ്പോൾ അന്ന് ജയശ്രീ മിസ്സും ജേക്കബ് സാറും ഒക്കെ ഒത്തിരി ഞങ്ങളെ ഇങ്ങനെ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുമായിരുന്നു ഇതിൻ്റെ പല പല ഏരിയാസിനെ പറ്റി. സോ വി വർ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ഹാവിങ് ദാറ്റ് പയനിയറിംഗ് സ്പിരിറ്റ് ഓഫ് ലൈക്ക് ബീങ് പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് സംതിങ്. So we knew that something beautiful is there. Like അതുപോലെ ഒത്തിരി എല്ലാവരും അവരുടെ സ്പിരിറ്റ് ഓഫ് among the students and among the teachers was very beautiful, like very cooperative, and again എല്ലാവരും like were quite talented, and we really enjoyed all that 4 years we had here. So അതിന്റെ ഫലമായിട്ട് like I'm sure that all of you guys, especially the students who are right now studying here, you will all leave this institution with wonderful memories, and then as you go into the industry and work in different places, you will again realize that this was a platform that was really equipped you to. So some of my teammates from CogniCor, especially Harida, who was studied here, so she knows that, like, um, how this platform, this model engineering college community prepares you to face the world, not only in Kerala and India, but also abroad as well. So again, thank you very much for felicitating me, and as well as for me personally, it was really a nice moment. Like Jacob sir, just out of the blue, reached out to me, and so I. Uh, for us, it was easy decision making because our CEO is my other half. So, but again, she also did not ask like a lot of, because we know that, if something comes from model engineering college, we know that it's quite there's no further doubt need to be there, because we know there is a lot of, that's kind of the culture here of the trust and participation and everything. So it was very easy to make. So again, I wish this venture all the best, and really great to hear that there are further plans ahead, and wish that one day this would become well known, very renowned. You know, labs like MIT Media Lab and all have been started like this one day, and then evolved through a lot of collaboration with industry, and now these are all world famous. So I hope and I truly believe that this has the potential to be a game changer, not only in this region, but also, the whole of India as well. So with that, I would like to again express my thanks to all my previous teachers, as well as to all the other people present here. I would like to conclude uh, my words. I know that you are here also for AI, for a session on AI. So maybe after this, I would go into that. I don't know what's the.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. With that, we have come to the end of the felicitation ceremony. So, I would like to call upon Dr. Binesh T, coordinator of IdeaLab, for delivering the vote of thanks.
So we have heard some very enlightening talks. Now it is a time to say a formal thank you. So first of all, on behalf of Model Engineering College, I would like to thank Mr. Rosh Cherian and his wife, Dr. Sindhu Joseph, of CogniCor Technologies. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to thank our director, Dr. Suresh Kumar P, for coming here and attending this function. So thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Jacob Thomas, for realizing actually this ACT IdeaLab, which is actually started running. You can see some slides here. We have conducted some workshops also. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Jacob, sir. And I have seen that the community of CogniCor is also present. So thank you, everybody, once again. And then on behalf of MEC, I would like to thank our respected alumni. Function is also going on. So welcome and great thank you for all alumni. And next, I would like to thank all HODs and faculty members and students of MEC for attending this function and to make this Idea Lab concept a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So, we'll be beginning the much awaited session on AI solutions for automating business communication in a while. Thank you.
Honeywell. It was the year 2000, and a lot of internet technologies was coming up. It was the dot-com era. So I was building corporate portals and internet applications there. And at Agilent, I was designing telecom equipments, the firmware for telecom equipments, the kind of like modems and routers you see here, like what goes inside that. Then I moved on to Barcelona, Spain, where I was working for Hewlett Packard and designing firmware for some of their printers and consumer electronic devices. Then I moved on to Telefonica, which is the largest telecom operator in Europe. So I was leading their application architecture platforms. So you know that telecom companies get a lot of complaints and a lot of portal like issues there. So I was designing portals, not AI based portals, but the kind of the previous generation where you have a lot of menus and sub menus. So at that point, I saw that there is a lot of um, kind of the enterprises or the businesses face a lot of problems when the businesses are interacting with customers, and this is specifically in the area of telecom or any other like large sectors. So at that time is when my wife and I. So my wife was doing a PhD there in the Europe's largest AI institute, and then when she finished her PhD, then that institution offered a possibility to launch whatever she has invented as a spin-off. So she started that company, the CogniCor, and from there, so I already saw there is a lot of potential in companies who can use AI. So when my wife approached with this idea, I thought it's a great idea to join her, and that's how I decided to move from the corporate world and be part of this startup. And then we both got a lot of initial funding and seed investment, and we basically bootstrapped the company there in Europe. We did a lot of pilots with the local telecoms and people like that. After that, we started. Once we knew that this could be scaled as a product, we started really seriously. So then we moved to the US in around 2016. So right now I'm based in Palo Alto. It's called the birthplace of Silicon Valley. So there is a lot of interesting companies there, a lot of interesting educational like institutions. Stanford is there. So I'm just telling this because I know that for all of you guys who are currently studying here, the concern is like what will happen after I finish. Like there are a lot of paths that you could take, but how do there is a lot of concerns there. But you have to be assured that once you set on a path and you be true to yourself and explore interests, what motivates you. I mean, there is a world of opportunity out there, and there is a lot of interesting things that happen beyond once you leave the model engineering college uh, campus. So briefly going to what CogniCor is, the leadership, like, we are a business automation company using a lot of artificial intelligence technologies. Myself is the CTO, Dr. Sindhu Joseph is CEO. She has around 6 patents in AI and machine learning. We also have a heavy a team that's complementing us in terms of experience with financial services. So we have Rajesh Sharma, who is kind of 20-year veteran in a lot of financial services companies. So, and then pretty much we do have a lot of advisors from the industry. And here in InfoPark, we have a team of around 55 members. So few of them are here with us right now. So our core vision is that we can develop world-class enterprise software products from India, from Kochi, and, and that's our vision that guides our everyday activity. So we have a very diverse team. We have won several awards, including the Diversity in Tech Award from Microsoft, as well as last year we won the She Loves Tech global competition for the best startup, female-founded and female-led startup in the world. So it's over around 1,000 startups from different countries, each stage after stage, and we were the top from North America. And then in the global round, again we won the first place in that. And moving on to like our customers. So as I said, enterprise software, especially this kind of enterprise software, is very difficult to make, very difficult to sell. But we were fortunate to grab the attention of the largest brands. Some of them you see here, they are the largest broker dealer in the US, the largest insurance provider in the world, etc., etc. And together with them, what we have achieved is that we have improved significantly some of their operational metrics using the AI-enabled automation solutions. So now let's come into what problem we are tackling. And customers like you and I, we all make a lot of calls to our businesses that we interact with. So if you total the whole thing, according to IBM, around 270 billion customer calls are made worldwide every year. So that's a huge number of customer calls. And behind every customer call or a customer connect, there is a problem. There is some issue, or there is something that the customer is not able to do it themselves. And that is what triggers these calls. And if you look at financial advisors or financial professionals, like insurance agent or brokers, then they spend a lot of their time. Around 50% of their time is spent on operational tasks, like repetitive tasks, like finding a form for a client and filling up that form, opening accounts, checking the balance, and telling the client, etc. So those kind of a lot of the manual processes are complex and inefficient, even in this time of an age. So that hurt the financial companies quite a lot, or any business quite a lot. And when you look at that, it can drag 30% of their revenue. So if the company is making a lot of profit, but if they don't pay attention to their operational structures, then they would lose 30% of that hard-earned revenue. So that's precisely why this enterprise AI and enterprise automation is a huge market. So it's a $120 billion worth of market by 2030. So there's going to be tremendous opportunities in bringing different types of AI-based solutions into the enterprise sector. So what CogniCor does here is that we have built a platform which basically does a lot of these tasks that today we would have to go through a pen and paper, or you have to call somebody and things like that. So we have understood the entirety of that business domain in insurance and wealth management, and then we have digitized many of these processes into an assistant experience. So by an assistant experience, what we mean is that there are in-house digital experts. So they are digital experts. So they can converse with humans in the normal and natural language, and they understand the domain of that area, and then they carry out various tasks, pretty much decreasing or minimizing the requirement of humans to interact with them. So that basically gives a huge leap in productivity. So what it takes traditionally, like to if an investor wants to check the balance of their account and invest some new money into that, it would take like 1 to 2 days, basically, in this regulated industries like stock trading and things like that. So what we have enabled is, with all these conversational front ends, with the conversational connection to backend RPA systems, what we have done is that entire time is shortened into less than 2 minutes. So this is the kind of, and the experience is also like more like an Amazon kind of instant click, more ubiquitous, transparent experience. I wanted to show a video to see how it works. We'll try that. I had some issues with connectivity, so I don't know if it will load up. Um, okay, it doesn't. So anyway, we'll go back to the presentation. Um, so why are business conversations complex? So why is machines or like automation not able to understand correctly humans? Because as humans, we don't communicate between each other what is already known with each other. So we only communicate the difference, because when you call up a bank, you assume that the bank already knows what, you're a customer, you have some accounts, and these things. And your expectation is that the bank already knows all of this, and you don't want to waste time in doing that. So that kind of puts it very difficult for a machine or AI system to actually understand that, because you need to understand few core things there. So, for example, a few days ago, my daughter woke me up at 3 a.m. in the morning, because we were jet lagged coming from the US, and it's nighttime there, and day. I mean, the sleep patterns is different. So she wake up at 3 a.m. and asked me like, I'm hungry. So I said, would you like to have some cereals? And she said yes, with milk. So this is a conversation between two humans, but what happens beneath the scene is that there is a conversational context out there with some facts, some known facts, and that she is hungry. The time is 3 a.m. and she's jet lagged, and etc. And then I had a kind of deductive reasoning. So I know there are some things out there that I could offer. There are milk, there are cereals, and both satisfies hunger, and so I will offer that. And then I could personalize that by adding something that she likes. So the entire process of the response goes through these understanding in a context, and then deductively, I mean, reasoning on what we are from the basic facts, and then giving out the final response. So that when we design AI systems that respond to humans, it's very important to keep in mind all these elements. Like, you need to properly understand. Otherwise, it will be like simply scripted kind of communications. That is very difficult to scale. So if you teach like, okay, this when this question comes, give this answer, then it's kind of like it would work for the initial few deployments, but later it will be difficult to scale. So conversational systems are probably you are already using some of the chat bots and things like that in finance, but in your banks. This is one example of a very uh, famous one in the US. It's Erika, which is deployed by Bank of America. It's 100 million plus client requests daily, so it's like a huge deployment. Now, so what I'm saying is that this kind of systems are becoming mainstream. So especially the new generation, they don't like to interact with people. They want to basically do everything self by themselves. But uh, there is even with that, there is, you see that it's not really perfect, because if you ask a question like, I want to transfer funds to some another account, but I did not receive the one-time password, the OTP, it basically would understand it as dispute. You are trying to dispute a transaction, and it will take you there. But that is the current state. But the ideal state is that it should understand all these elements, like it should understand what is meant by an account, an OTP, and it should spot the transfer issue is a problem, and it should take you through a guided step-by-step way to resolve that. This one. So that is basically the experience that should be provided. And behind the scenes, there are many technologies that would enable this experience. So we have if you look at the various technologies that can be used in this, there is deep learning. Deep learning is used in computer vision. If you have some invoices that you have to process, and if a bank needs to process a lot of claims, or an insurance company needs to process a lot of claims, then you have trained deep learning networks for that. Machine learning, basically teaching by examples. So if you want to, if customer calls for a problem and you have to give a response that might solve this problem, then you train with a lot of previous, same issues and responses, and then that is machine learning. You have deductive learning, from where you drive a solution by deducing facts. So that means, if if you know the basic facts, like humans can walk, Rosh is a human, then Rosh can walk. So those kind of deductive learning is also used recently in order to on the top of machine learning and deep learning. uh, I would like to give a glimpse of how a production-ready ML-based AI systems are built. So basically, you choose. This is just a high level, but there are a lot of complexities in each of these steps. So initially, you choose the type of ML algorithms to use. You build out a model, then you validate the model based on some test data, and then you basically give a real scenario to predict, and then classify whether the performance. So if it is a digital assistant, then you train the digital assistant with some domain data, uh, in terms of like knowledge that's extracted from your existing documents, and then you build a model and then validate it, and then so it's like a artificial intelligence is like a cyclic process. So you do something, you measure the, so you cannot expect it, like unlike the non AI systems where you can predict everything beforehand. So like you have all the test cases, you test out all the menus, submenus, all the possibilities, and then you deploy. But AI systems, one of the things you need to keep in mind is it's all learning. There is a continuous evolution. So that is the hallmark of any AI system. Again, there is a lot of, within that learning or the continuous learning, there is a lot of questions there, like, should we use supervised learning or unsupervised learning? You might already know that there was like a famous story about a Microsoft chatbot that was trained by hackers, that to, because it was unsupervised, so it was trained to respond to things that it was originally not uh, decided, intended for. So but maybe businesses may not want to have that unsupervised learning, so they may want to have supervised learning, like experts might want to guide these AI systems. So those are the new kind of areas that will open up in future, like teaching AI systems, like how. So if you are a customer support person in a bank, and you already know a lot of domain knowledge, then that knowledge could be used to teach AI systems in terms of supervised learning. So then that becomes scalable, etc. So there are some interesting aspects that need to be considered, which any bot or a digital assistant designer should be able to should keep in mind. There is also, like, there is simple things are not, financial information, or domains like regulated, like financial, medical, etc. They are very complex. So there will be a body of knowledge, and you need a way to quickly extract knowledge and store in the assistant in a way that's very scalable. So there is like a document processing, or extraction of meaningful things from document, and making a knowledge graph out of that. That is another area that that these digital assistant solutions have a challenge, because for humans it's very easy to see, like, okay, that is introduction, that is this, etc. But for a machine, it's difficult to understand that. So again, what CogniCor does is we have developed the platform that would basically ingest a lot of these documents and create knowledge graphs. So financial organization can very easily deploy this assistant from their existing knowledge assets rather than sitting and programming these digital assistants. So what we as one of the companies that are pioneering in this space, what we envision is, so we have created a platform called Sura, and this Sura platform is currently used by large companies. It's like the platform as service model. So we train their knowledge engineers, their business people. They don't need to know much about their the programming aspect of it, because that's all built in. So what we see is that there will be a future where there are various areas like the Sira research, the core AI algorithms. So we have a team that builds these algorithms at CogniCor. Uh, there is a group of trainers that train this with the domain data. There is technical consultants. There is Sira testers. So if you deploy something, then it has to be tested whether that works correctly. And So these are the different areas, and we do have all lot of integrations like these. The power of the assistant comes from being integrated to many backend systems. So CRM systems like Salesforce, content management systems, and many other kind of automation RPA systems. So if you want to open an account through a digital assistant, then there is a lot of things happening behind the scenes. So all of that comes under integrations. So if you are looking at from a career perspective, then in this kind of roles, like you have either the bot developer and the technologies associated with that, that is AI and ML and many a lot of things are there. And then there is a very valuable and emerging role where you work with the businesses, so the domain knowledge of that domain is somehow put into the bot. So it's like deploying it for very interesting business solutions. So that is very interesting and very challenging, because and most businesses have a problem, like maybe they want to reduce their traffic to the branch by, I don't know, by 80% in 2 years. So that's a business problem. Now how to create digital assistant that would achieve that? So why the people go to branch, and then those things, and bringing those use cases into um, the digital assistant is really a very interesting area. So at the end goal of all of these things is designing cognitive enterprises. So the enterprise, probably these days enterprises have a website, and we go there. But beyond that, there is a lot of knowledge within the enterprise. There is a lot of things that can be personalized. There is a lot of opportunity to create sales by just a lot of having a deeper engagement with the customers. So all of that is only possible if at the core of the enterprise there are systems that are cognitive, that are aware of users' needs, that are aware of the company's products and services and how that would meet. So CogniCor's Sira platform is the vision is that every business in the world must be able to use this and create a satisfying, enriching experience for the customers. So that's all I have prepared. It was quite fast and I mean very high level, but I'd be really happy to hear from you of any questions, anything that you would specifically like to know. So there are many. It is since financial services and a lot of these domains are uh, very much conscious of security. Uh, there are, like as I said, in the unsupervised learning example, like nobody should be able to inject data or to be able to train an AI system basically to give responses that you really don't want to have. So there should be ways to put in, because as the system learns from previous examples, like you should be able to have supervised responses, supervised way of training that. Beyond that, there are like basic things like um, personal data should not be put on any, you have to mask all of those things, like sensitive information, PII. uh, then um, the way the access, like use of single sign-on, those kind of technologies are used to have a very highly reputed way of authentication. There are also voice authentication, like voice biometrics. So um, some of our clients want to have, when you call them by phone, they it works, serves two purposes. One is it identifies as well, and it also, for security purposes, it ensures that it is you. So these are some of the new kind of challenges that are coming into the security area. So again, all the important enterprise constraints are applicable here in terms of security. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's a balance. So experience is, when you try to have a very seamless experience, a self-service experience, there is potential for all kinds of fraudulent activities and transactions. So one of the thing that's interesting to note here is that there is always modules that are put in place to observe any sort of unwanted activity. Again, there is cyber security is quite the big concern when you deploy humanless systems. So there are mechanisms that are put in place, like OTP and those kind of things. Like if you initiate a transaction through a digital assistant, you would still have some kind of two-factor authentication before the transaction proceeds. So those kind of things are all integrated into the workflows of digital assistant these days. Yes, yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. So so there are three types of users. One is the end user, who is the client of that company. Then you have the people, the staff in that company. So people who attend the calls. They every time they get a new call, they want to know what's the right policy in regards to, if you are talking about. Yeah, yeah. So although the when you call and you get number one or two, that's kind of the old style, like uh, IVR kind of way. The new the ideal, I mean, there are that's only one piece of it. So the AI solutions are also used internally. When you make a call, you might get a nice call agent who will give the response very quickly, because the AI is assisting that agent in order to make much faster responses. And every time that agent gives out a response, that AI will monitor also, like how many correct responses were given out by the agent, and improves that agent's productivity. So it's not like you deploy it only on one side, one-stop solution, but the business should look at the end customers, its own staff, how you can make them more productive. And then the management also, like, yes. So there are all the, so that is why you need something like a knowledge graph, which encapsulate all the domain information into a nice way so it can scale. Maybe we still don't have internet, right? Yeah, if you have a hotspot. Yeah, speed undo. Speed കുറവാണ്. So I hope that gives a more, yeah. So it's the entirety of that business. So that's why you need this kind of platforms, and specifically for that kind of domains, so it can it is easier for those companies rather than hiring a bunch of staff and building it every time, doing the inventing the wheel again. So if you guys are interested in working in these areas, either while you are studying, let us know, and we may have a couple of internship opportunities that can get in touch with our team. They will be able to help you. Yeah, that's very interesting question. So there is not one like monolithic application or service. So we follow a microservice architecture. So we have different modules that or microservices that collaborate and enrich the knowledge graph. So NLP is an enabler for most of these microservices because NLP allows you to process natural language and extract the entities, the tokens, and things like that. But then you might need a reasoning engine to actually like do that deduction. Uh, yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of it becomes very complex, and that's why the like even for us in our human thinking, you have different kinds of thoughts, and when you will try to maximize the coherence, right? So if the company was most important objective is to let's say improve the sales or improve the response time metrics, then the if you can give that as a goal to the reasoning engine, and then all the different decisions will be evaluated against that goal, and you will get the right response. So one part of the response generation might think that you need to give a response that's directed at maybe increasing the sales. So it might offer when you ask about one question, one product, it might offer, are you interested in two or three other products as well? Other part of it may be able to come up with a kind of different, maybe a compliance kind of perspective, like did you submit your KYC, for example. So to merge all of these into one single response is challenging, but it works based on the priorities that the business wants to set. So if the business wants to set only, the sales effort, you don't, then only that modules will be generating the response. But if they want to do like your KYC is missing for the last few days, why don't you do it now? So that's why we cannot design AI systems in a scripted way. Like if this customer comes, it cannot be done. So that's why we need like a federated kind of system, and our architecture is architected around that.
So,
Yeah, it's a great question. So as we speak now, AI has already touched most of our daily lives. You wake up, maybe you talk to your Google Home or Siri, but increasingly, like on one side, decision-making systems, like you see the self-driving cars, those kind of decision makings are there. Then, so that's autonomous decision making. We also have productivity boosting things, like these kind of digital assistants. So the and also the word AI is very used in a very loose fashion. So it doesn't mean that there is just one thing. So it's a combination of different techniques. um, I would see that most of the so when we started and deploying this AI solutions, we looked at various industries, which one will have more adoption. Finance has been one that's been always innovating a lot, and that's where right now we see most of the adoption of AI technologies. But very soon it will go into like the medical areas. Um, and that's especially robotic kind of even in the post and pre care patient communication, that's an opportunity. Then ed tech is one area which is hugely catching up on AI. So we do have another product which trains the same AI is used to train people new to the company. So there are interesting areas where AI could be deployed. And as a budding AI engineer, I think what you should focus is on see, AI is a tool, but actually you're solving a problem, and that is with the data. Like so, to train an AI system, you need good data, because if you train it with bad data, you get the bad response. So, but the good data you have to collect by looking at the how that's used. So it could be used. I mean, to collect proper training data is a difficult skill, uh, because you have to look at how many customer you have to look into the call transcripts and see what are the main problems that this company faces, and you need to give that kind of representational data. So I would say select some domain, understand the problems in that domain, learn more about that, and that will reflect in your skill to properly manage AI systems, and then build all the understanding. Like nowadays, anybody can create like Google Dialogflow, and all of these things are open systems. So you could go and create, a simple pizza bot by yourself, or different things. So you basically learn, experiment, and iterate over that. There are a lot of libraries available in, especially if you go into the Python environment, like you have a lot of like scikit learn, many libraries available. So you build stuff even in your you know projects or anything using these things, and thereby we can get more knowledgeable in this. No, financial services, I didn't have much expertise. Uh, it is basically like, you when you launch something new, you try different domains and where it is. So as I said, Mumbai Telecom, we did this, but telecom companies are like large monopoly companies. Like there are not a lot of them, so you can only probably have 4 or 5, and then and they are kind of happy with the way things are. Like they're not under pressure. In finance, you see, like it's being disrupted a lot. Like you have Paytm and many other technologies coming in, so they are forced to innovate. So but any domain can be learned. So 4 years ago, I didn't know much about what is wealth management companies, how the insurance companies work. So by slowly doing pilots and deployments with them, our company, like the way we work is we have uh, our staff very much interacting closely with those architects in those customer companies. So they very quickly pick up, and they are very much take ownership of various deliveries. So I would say that is very easy once you decide to to learn and implement these things. Um, by gradually you will pick up all the important things in that domain, and yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, so that's there are different stages of scaling, like from having a prototype to first product deployment. That's a milestone, and then from that to second client is another milestone. 4 5 clients is another milestone. So each milestone gives us a lot of learnings. So one thing we found is there is you have to have an internal mechanism where the company, you have built a platform, but then people are not buying the platform, they are buying a solution to their problem. So we need to organize the company in a way that can deliver that solution. So like account managers and all the sales side, the marketing, and so scaling involves thinking on all these ways, so that with a minimal team, we are optimal team, we are able to deliver these services to all these large customers. So part of it is the technology, like you design it in a way that it's easier to scale. So we chose the fundamental ideas were born out of the PhDs and research of the founders. So we have the full control over that. So that means it's designed to scale rather than depending on some other technologies outside. Again, the other elements usually come up. We do have advisors from the industry who have probably seen such things before. So the advisory board gives us a lot of input. So these are all the different ways and again, it's a hard problem to scale. It's easy to build your first few, this one, but then to scale it industrially, it's difficult, but it's very interesting as well. Yeah, so it depends on the budget and the different, like there are, for each product there are different marketing strategies work. Some are inbound, outbound marketing, like you have an agency that, and B2C is more like digital marketing driven, like Google ads and everything. Since ours is a B2B enterprise B2B, it's more the sales process works in more like a uh, outbound reach. Like we have targeted list of people who might buy the solution. So we have agencies that work with us to get leads. We also do a lot of digital advertising, and then we have conference kind of base. Like if you go to the large financial conferences, we present there. We you know so most often like our CEO gets speaking slot in some of these opportunities. So we talk there, and then you get. So there is many things. Yeah, yeah. So that's in her LinkedIn profile. You can see those patterns. So this is uh, invented by her, but it was when she was working in different companies before that. That's when she got the opportunity to do those research and make those patterns. They are all in machine learning, natural language processing, and different areas. So they goes back to like 10, 15 years. And even within CogniCor, we have already applied for 2 patents, and its processing is going on. So our AI team looks into like many interesting ways to improve performances and experiences, and being part like my CEO has the experience of how to patent something. So that helps. So we have so once these patents and all add value to the intellectual property of the company. Yeah. So um, there are a lot of AI companies now, and some of them have their own technology stack. Some of them use other like services from Google, like Dialogflow, or Microsoft cognitive AI services, or Amazon's Lex platform. So all of these platforms are there. So when since we started quite early, like we know like what works, what doesn't work. So for example, in the Google Dialogflow or Amazon Lex, they don't have the concept of. I mean, they have only machine learning. So you have to train by examples, but they don't have like a knowledge graph or anything that goes one step above. And so they only use inductive learning. So we use inductive and deductive learning. So those kind of differentiations give us uh, better, you know, um, short. Also, the focus, like the domain focus is very important. So when you say something in the financial domain, that has multiple meanings associated with it. So a generic platform like a Dialogflow may not be able to understand all that. So we are super focused in financial services, so that helps. Yeah. Yeah. So Yes. So our goal is to be an Alexa for financial services. So today, if you ask Alexa like something, it will give a response because it's basically like a NLP, yeah, and then once it understands that it's like associated with the nearest, yes, exactly. But imagine Sira becomes a platform where anybody can create Sira skill, like a bank can create account management skills and add it there. Another broker institution can create that. So then it becomes like a, even students can create skills in Sira and contribute to the library. So those kind of things are, that's the overall vision. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you have time, I can show that as well. Uh, so basically, it works by um, um, do we have time? It's a 3-minute video. So it works the kind of the same way. But, average contact center has an annual churn rate as high as 40%. Within financial services, it takes around 4 to 6 months to train a new employee. The sudden shift in work culture and the recent resignation wave has brought added challenges to most firms, especially in onboarding and training new talent and managing ongoing training needs of their sales and support professionals. The same is true for financial advisors. They spend 30% to 40% of their time researching and monitoring relevant news, staying on top of policies and processes of their home offices, and staying compliant with different regulations. Fortunately, these problems can be a thing of the past for financial firms and their professionals. Meet Sam, CogniCor's training assistant that helps in overcoming these challenges by providing a personalized ongoing learning experience. Sam is just a click away and can be embedded on top of the advisor dashboards, service center apps, Salesforce, or Dynamics, etc., wherever the employee spends most of their time. Sam assists new reps and advisors right from the moment they are onboarded in the organization. SAM assists with three major aspects of learning: browsing knowledge-based topics, training with virtual scenarios, and going through self-assessment. Let's see SAM in action. SAM can help you explore an organization's knowledge base through a click and browse experience. SAM recommends the trending topics. That helps to focus on the most important information and considerably reduce the learning effort. Users can learn more about each topic by asking questions. For example, ask Sam, when should I submit a form CRS? Immerse your learners in realistic scenarios and challenge their critical thinking with the help of SAM. SAM can assist you with providing different virtual scenarios real time and give feedback. Employees and advisors can initiate self-assessments that help them to analyze their knowledge and competencies. Based on the score, SAM's AI module identifies skill gaps and recommends learning relevant topics to upgrade their knowledge. SAM also helps you to stay updated with market trends in the financial domain. Yeah. So I hope you get an idea. Like so it finds your skill gaps and it basically guides you to taking tests and quizzes and things like that. In the future, yes, because this is not specific anything limits us from going, except that we are a small company now, and once we scale up, once we consolidate this position in financial, there is financial and insurance. I mean, we have, but health is a adjacent vertical. So yeah, yeah. So in Europe, you have different languages. So you, like I speak Spanish and Catalan when I was there in the Europe, but you go to France, they're to French. So you need a large market, which and with a lot of players like buyers, and that's why like US is that kind of a market where you have a lot of financial institutions, and the language concern is not there that strict. So by that, US, UK, all are potential targets, but the rules in the UK may be slightly different. And in India, we tried in initial stages. We were the first company to launch in India a bot, which we did with Federal Bank here. And we also launched it with HDFC and many other. But then the as I said, the large market, and with a lot of okay, this is an investment that the company has to make for long term. So eventually, once this is more streamlined, we will be looking at other markets as well.
Uh, so, so
Yeah.
Siraj learns from his previous experiences, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so does Siraj store any sensitive user data regarding their privacy?
So the Sira is processing their data on behalf of the institution. So the institution, if the institution has a CRM into which they store that data, then basically Sira becomes an enabler to. So Sira's role there is basically in just like a call agent or somebody who takes your information, processes it and puts it somewhere. That is the role of Sira. It's a processing layer, intelligent processing layer that would it makes it easy to collect data and put it into the business systems with integrations, with the facility to integrate. So it doesn't store anything as such about each individual customers. What it has knowledge is about the firm's policies, procedures, the various topics that it has to be aware of, and things like that.
Uh, Earlier you said about knowledge graph. Can you explain a bit more about that?
Knowledge graph.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowledge graphs are the latest innovation in the information area. So if you look at Google nowadays, if you type something and search, it also shows uh, some queries about like suggested queries, right? Like that's because when you ask something, it's able to find out relevant concepts that are near that, semantically closer to that what you ask. So if you are asking about, you know, uh, uh, COVID, then other things around that COVID, like how to the symptoms, like treatment, all of this is able to come up with it because it's kind of able to connect with that this concept of COVID, like has different things, attributes like treatment. It has probably the symptoms. So all of these are associated with that. So a knowledge graph is something like a interconnected mesh of semantic concepts, and there are distances between them. For example, the bank account is a concept, and uh, maybe refund is another concept, and these two are connected in some way, or insurance or credit card is another concept. So the way of storing these informations in a graph format, which is semantically connected. That is basically knowledge graph. And different people are building knowledge graphs for different areas. So CogniCor built and released the knowledge graph for the first time for the wealth management and insurance domain. So you have to go into that domain, understand all the terms and terminologies in that domain. You have to map out the relations between them, the different factors, and once you develop that knowledge graph, then you don't need machine learning a lot, because not a lot of, in order to machine learning to work, you need a body of previous training data sets, and we may not have that if you are launching a new product, for example, because that product has not been launched, and so people are not, conversations with that product have not happened yet. So so knowledge graph driven systems like CogniCor will give more scalability, more accuracy uh, in giving these responses. Yeah. I didn't expect this to be that huge, but when, so as a biomedical engineer, then I was working in different company. I was working in Sri Chitra Institute in Trivandrum, which is a very famous institute for biomedical. I was a apprentice in biomedical engineer there. Then I realized a lot of things are behind the scenes. That everything is related to information, like computer science, even any equipment. So I went in to do an MTech in computer engineering, and then went and worked in different enterprise companies. And there I saw, especially the last one in Telefonica, they are they have millions of clients, and they get a lot of uh, exchanges between communication between clients and the business. So the portals will go down, like, there are many things will happen. That's when I realized this has huge potential, because when I sit and go through the logs, I see, like, each person is like, if I was looking into the complaints forms there, so they are all, everybody has a different thing. And the enterprise using the traditional way, like you forward that as an email to somebody, is not able to process that, because it's just not possible. So that's when I realized that using AI has a great potential, because that simple kind of things can be understood and responded immediately. Like, maybe you want a refund for something, and that value is quite low, so you can use an AI system and to do a lot of fraud checking and everything, and you can process that. So we were the first. We did the first fully automated complaint resolution for that company there. The CogniCor solution was able to do that. So so nowadays it's more adopted in different places, but that's the my work with enterprise companies was kind of a turning point when I realized there's potential for that. Yeah, so we are always welcoming interns. We have interns here in the US, and even from Stanford we had one recently. So we believe that the this interaction between academic and the business mindset, there's a lot of win-win for both. So we are open to the proposal that we look into that, and will respond. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. I hope it was useful. The session gave you some glimpse into what we are working on. And if you have any further questions, reach out to me via LinkedIn, and I'll be always helpful.
On behalf of Model Engineering College, thanks a lot, sir, for that enlightening session and for clearing all the doubts we all had. Thank you, sir. Also, this event wouldn't have been a success without the active participation of all the students and faculties present here. So thank you everyone for attending the session today. Once again, let me thank each and everyone for being here today. Thank you.